practice all of these possibilities. It'll keep you busy for a long time. And that's not getting into dynamics yet, which is another thing you can practice, which is practicing as quietly as possible, as loud as possible, and making transitions from quiet to loud. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, and so on. Okay, I'll continue now just so that you can hear the rest of it as written. And in the third line on the second page, it does bring in accents there. So, you know, I would say play it as written, but then also try moving the accents around to different places. So I'll play it as written. So here we go. I'll put the metronome on. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Got distracted by the barking dog and forgot to. So yeah, when you get to the second page, this is where it gets pretty tricky. Alternating middle and index. That first bar, very useful. Just practice that a bunch. That second bar now. This is really important too. This is the basis of a lot of ornamentation in classic banjo. So this pattern comes up all the time, especially in pieces that are written specifically for banjo, like, you know, anything by Joe Morley. You have, you know, you know, just it kind of comes in all the time. So. And so on. So this is, you really want to master this. That, nice and slow. Make sure the fingers are even. Start with a real, you know, medium volume, not your loudest, not your quietest, but just comfortable. And make sure everything's coming through. I got into all this stuff before I knew about the Bradbury book, and I spent a long time trying to correct. I had this habit of my index finger was weak, so I would kind of play these triplet ornaments like. It just wasn't coming through evenly. So you want to spend time on that. Make sure it's all nice and clear, and gradually it can get faster. These are great patterns. Every one of these bars is worth repeating. Okay, I'll go on to the fifth line now. Oh, I have to say, I didn't play correctly the fourth line. I neglected to play the right hand fingering. So I'll go on to the rest of. I'll do the next two lines, the fifth and sixth line now. So yeah, 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so it lends itself naturally to practicing dynamics. You know, start quiet and get bigger, and then come back down, just following the melody. Let's do the last two lines now, and it says repeat many times. I echo that sentiment. Another thing I'll say is I'm playing it for you right now a bit faster than you should begin practicing. You should practice probably half time. So more like... and so on. So I'll just play it a bit faster. I'll play it, as written here. 1, 2, ready, and. There's so much to get out of this. This is probably the least musical exercise, but to try and make it musical, that's the exercise. So I'm going to close with one thing that I feel is worth mentioning, and I don't think I discussed earlier. Oh, two things. So one thought on accents. In order to accent a note, it has to be able to somehow be bigger than the notes around it. And in order for that to happen, often you need to make the notes around it smaller. So rather than try to make this one note so much bigger, make sure to make all the other notes a bit smaller. So if you want to accent the downbeat, it's much easier to do that if you allow the other notes to be a little quieter. The other thing related to right hand technique in general, a lot of people wonder, should I plant either my ring or pinky fingers or both on the head? Because I do that. And the answer is, it could be either way. Some of the great players of the past, classic banjo players, would plant their fingers and many would not. There are advantages and drawbacks to both. Personally, I do it because I learned bluegrass banjo before I learned classic banjo, and it's my habit, and I kind of want to break it, but I also concede that there are advantages to the plant. If I were starting from scratch, if I hadn't already had bluegrass experience, I would probably want to play without planting because it's more free, and anything touching the head is going to dampen some of the vibrations. So you could say, well, when you plant your fingers, you're damping the vibrations, but you also have more leverage to get more power. And I agree, that's true. But I think it would be better, you get a nicer sound without touching the head at all and have a little less power, that's okay. Let the notes ring free. So it's up to you. You don't have to do exactly as I do. If I had a GoPro or something, maybe I would do a close-up on my hand. Again, when we're focusing on these exercises, you want to think about the way your finger connects with the string. So you don't want to have your finger coming in at an angle, because then you're going to be making you'll be making insufficient contact or you'll be making too much contact. And what you want is to have just the point of your finger just hitting the top part of the string. You definitely don't want to be going deeply into the string. You just want to just kind of get that half moon shape with your finger. I'm exaggerating here, but you're not going straight. It's not a straight motion, and you're not going down either. You don't want to do that, except occasionally, maybe for special times. And again, make sure your fingers are each in their own lane. And just, you know, you can always play lighter than you think. That's one thing. The banjo's got the sound coming out, and you're sitting behind it, so you're not getting all the sound that's coming out in your own ears. So you want to keep that in mind, and remember, you don't have to play as loud as you can all the time. You can actually just really take it easy, and that sound's gonna come through. Can you hear that? I assume you can hear that. So that's gonna be it for our lesson today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.